Welcome back to Hoops HD, everybody. It is some ungodly hour in the morning of Tuesday, March 8th. That must mean it's time for Championship Week Video Notebook, day number 8. Wait, there's only 7 days in a
8 days
week.
a week. It's a
Oh,
Beatles
8 days
song.
a week. Okay, so this
Yep.
is the final. This is it. The tournament field was out. Who made it?
I don't know. We still got 6 more days in the
Pretty
week.
sure it was Northwest Missouri State and about 63 other D2 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm your host, Chad Show, with John Sleek over there. David Griggs still locked in the pocket puppet bunker, thankfully.
Oh, but
Uh,
you just said the week's over. You can let me out now.
I said we have to have a national champion. Nobody won the
We
championship yet, did they?
we do.
Who won?
Um, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you after
Okay.
after you let me out.
We got a lot to get to. Let's see here. News and notes. Not really much in terms of news and notes today off the court. Other than I guess Johnny Davis was the big. His injury for Wisconsin was a bit of a news. Looks. What I'm hearing is he's probably going to be good to go, but he was also seen in a boot today, so who knows? We might not know for certain for a few more days, but that's a huge loss for Wisconsin if he's not going to be available for the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament. But
Ooh.
word is still that he's
Yeah.
going to try to go for the Big Ten tournament, so we'll see.
Okay. Thing is, they don't really need to win the Big Ten tournament. So, unlike a lot of the tournaments we're going to be talking about tonight.
Well, let's start with the game of the night and probably the number one highlight throughout championship week that we are going to have. It was absolutely amazing. Uh, it was the SoCon championship game. Uh, Stalika, let me start with you. Start with you here on this game. This was a back and forth game most of the way. Uh, it was actually kind of ugly in the first half. Furman had a 26-16 halftime lead, but the
It
second
was
half
an
it got
unwatchable first half.
the second half got a lot better. Uh, Bothwell for Furman hit a three at the end of regulation to force overtime in a situation where, quite honestly, Lamont Paris, head coach of Chattanooga, you should foul when you're up three. We just discussed it last night. Didn't happen. They end up going overtime. Furman takes a lead, 4 seconds left, much like the ending of the Rutgers-Purdue regular season game when Purdue took a lead. Chattanooga, just like Rutgers, did not call a timeout, got the ball just past half court, got a shot up. David Jean-Baptiste and Salika, swish.
Yeah, he hit the shot, and it had to be quite a bit painful for Furman, who was just right on the doorstep of their first NCAA tournament bid since 1980. And much like much like former alum Sam Weish, so close and yet so far in the end.
Uh, Absolutely amazing. Shot from just inside half court by Baptiste to put the Mocs into the NCAA tournament. Greg's in a dangerous NCAA tournament team at that.
Yeah, they really are, and it's kind of crazy. What are they going to do in the round of 64? I don't know, but like we've seen, it kind of reminds me of the year Wisconsin Milwaukee under Bruce Pearl went to a Sweet 16, and they had won a game not quite under that crazy of a fashion, but at the last second. And this Sweet 16 run would have never happened had they not won that game. And you kind of wonder, um, you know, what is Chattanooga going to do? Whatever they end up doing in the NCAA tournament, how close they came to not being there at all.
Yeah, and it is, it's a little bit of a shame though. Kansas State is not in this is not going to be in the NCAA tournament in all likelihood. Uh, if we could have gone Chattanooga, Kansas State, and Silvio De Sousa could have grabbed a few chairs and um,
Yes.
But I think to Chad's point from earlier, it was as big as a 12-point lead for Furman, and then promptly Chattanooga goes on a 13-0 run in the second half. So that's where you get the back and forth right there.
yeah. Don't watch if you're going to rewatch the game. Just start at halftime. Honestly, just start at halftime.
I don't know if there's enough Prozac in the state to ease Furman right now.
Yeah, absolute heartbreak for Furman. They will
And
likely be in some postseason event, but
yeah, the shot was ridiculous. It was he was covered, like I mean, he was being defended by two guys. he sort of threw it over his head. The form was ridiculous. It was so haphazard and swish.
I like the fact that they did not call timeout, because a timeout in that situation lets the defense set. You want a defense that's a little bit disorganized. Uh,
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at the Rutgers Purdue game. Same situation. Let's go on to the other championship game that was played today. It was the Sun Belt title game between the Ragin Cajuns of Louisiana and Georgia State. And Griggs, Louisiana tried to stay close, but it just kind of felt like Georgia State had the game the whole way.
Yeah, it really did. And congratulations to Georgia State, really establishing themselves as a top under the radar program. And it's like when Ron Hunter was there, he did really well, but would they be able to keep it going after he left? And here they are back in the NCAA tournament. So, they were kind of a team we liked coming into the year. I think there were times we were kind of disappointed in them. Not disappointed, but we felt that they were underachieving. But then again, who in the Sun Belt did we not feel that way about at one time or another? So Georgia State, Panthers back in the NCAA.
This might have been mentioned on during the game yesterday, but this was the first I'd heard about head coach Bob Marlin for Louisiana, just hours after the game had ended on Saturday when they upset Texas State. He had actually found out his mother was dying, and I guess was able to make the 5-minute drive from Pensacola up to Tupelo, Mississippi to be with her in her final moments. And after she had passed and he had spent time with her family, he drove right back from Tupelo down to Pensacola to be with her for the team's final 2 games here. So definitely best wishes and condolences to the Marlin family here.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
I hadn't heard that at all.
That's a real shame.
It was mentioned tonight.
Goodness.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, let's keep things rolling along here and jump over to a pair of semifinals that our John Titel was at. And this was a heck of a couple of games, beginning with the Delaware Towson game. Surprisingly, Delaware kind of kept Towson at bay the entire way and pulled off the upset.
It looked like Towson was finally going to get a lead towards the end of the first half. Delaware kept chipping away and building up a lead, and Jameer Nelson Jr., one of the players helping to lead the Fighting Blue Hens right here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because these two teams, if you remember, they played the game that got suspended due to the water in the gymnasium. That got suspended for about a month and a half. They finished the game just about a week ago. They played the second half of that game. Delaware was up big when the break happened. Towson came out and destroyed them in the second portion of that game, and to win that game and get the 1 seed. Delaware just saved the win for tonight, obviously.
Quite the season those two have had. It's odd you have a game that lasts for 7 weeks.
UNC Wilmington College of Charleston was a great finish, though, with a somewhat controversial block charge call. Down 1, Charleston had the ball. The play they called was to run inside and take the shot. Was the defender moving or not? I don't know, but Griggs, it was controversial, but as a result, Wilmington did get the win. They called the charge.
Yeah, and sometimes you get those blarges. You don't know if it's a block or a charge, and I don't know. It was sort of a 50-50 call. Had it been called the other way, I don't think it would have been considered any more right or wrong than what it was now. But Wilmington holds on.
I'll tell you here that my biggest complaint actually was the play call by Charleston. You don't want to run that play with the game on the line. You could have pulled up for a jump shot. You could have passed it out. That was my bigger issue. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah, but you were right. I was just going to say, good showing in this tournament, dominated the Holster team that I thought was going to win it, and then played really well today against a good Wilmington team. Interesting matchup tomorrow. I'm inclined to pick Wilmington, but Delaware's looked good in both their games.
Wilmington has just found ways to win games.
I'm going to say, judging by the end of the game, it seemed like the biggest issue Pete Gillen would have had with Wilmington was they chose not to defend the inbounder. Of course, the other side of the coin is they had to throw right into a 4-on-5 scrum, and one of the Wilmington players ended up intercepting the pass to run out the clock. So there is that side of the coin.
Yeah, it was. I think it was bad play. That was probably a bad run by Charleston also. So maybe two bad play calls there. But Salika, who do you play like tomorrow, Delaware or Wilmington?
I think I'll probably go with Wilmington right here.
I'm going that way also. I do think they take this game. It was also semifinal day in the Horizon League, and Salika, I'll give you credit. You called it yesterday. I don't know that you called it would be two blowouts, but Wright State and NKU is our championship game, and neither game was close.
It seemed like there was more one blowout and one absolute rock fight right here. It took a late minute surge by Fort Wayne just to get into the 40s right here. Fort
Yeah.
Wayne was still stuck in the 20s going up into, I think, the 7-minute mark in the second half.
Yeah, kind of an unceremonial ending for a team that had a really good year and was really thundering down the stretch. Just could not get their motors started tonight. And one of our, not the biggest, but one of our more favorite under the radar rivalries in the championship game in Indianapolis between two schools that are not from Indiana.
Yeah, other than Cleveland State winning it last year, these two schools I think had won 4 or 5 straight Horizon League tournament championships. One of them will win it again. I think NKU has won three out of four actually in that stretch. So
Yeah,
right State
Correct.
looking for a little revenge in what's been happening in recent years. Again, other than Cleveland State's win last year. So should be a
I'm
great
looking
game
forward
though.
to this one. Yeah,
These two teams are always go at it. It's just we didn't expect it this year when we saw Oakland and Cleveland State early and Fort Wayne late. But here we go.
Yeah.
We got the game that everyone loves to see for the Horizon League title game. Just wish it was on
Mhm.
campus sites. But Griggs, it was Summit League semifinal day, and you said last night what a great ticket this was going to be. If you're looking for somewhere to sleep, it was a great ticket. What two just absolute blowouts tonight.
Yeah. Well, it was a good ticket if you wanted to sleep. But yeah, um, South Dakota State just pounded the Yotes, and I guess that wasn't particularly surprising. But to me, North Dakota State doing what they did to Oral Roberts was shocking, and we get another great rivalry tomorrow for a championship game. The two best teams. Tomorrow, I will say it again. I was wrong about today, but I think tomorrow is a great ticket. I think Sioux Falls is going to be rammed. It's going to be half and half. This one's going to be fun.
Yeah, Slika, do you think North Dakota State could pull off the upset because South Dakota State looking to join Murray State undefeated in conference play and a conference tournament title?
I'm still going to go with South Dakota right here, and I'm also going with them to expand their borders by another 50 miles after the game.
Expand their borders. Okay. Um, it was the reason we're recording so late. West Coast Conference semifinal day. Let's start, Sleeka, with the Gonzaga San Francisco game because this looked like a complete Zags blowout until about the last 5 minutes when the Dons actually fought back and kind of made a game of it late.
Their defense was certainly giving Gonzaga fits right here, and had they been able to hit a couple threes, they probably would have really made the Bulldogs sweat this one out. Alas, they weren't. They were taking about 20 seconds per possession in the final minute, which is not what you want to do when you're unsure of exactly what kind of basket you want to get off. But give credit to Gonzaga's defense for making sure there wasn't going to be any upset here.
And Greg's in the late game. St. Mary's looked like they kept looking like they were just going to put Santa Clara out of reach, but the Broncos just stayed close enough. They made the big late run, had a couple chances to had a chance to take the lead down one late.
Oh my God.
And it was a block, a incredible block by Johnson on a Jalen Williams shot that saved the day for the Gales tonight.
Yeah, it really was. Because we are recording at some ungodly hour at the under 8 timeout. It appeared to me that St. Mary's had gone up by 15, and I almost texted you guys saying, "Hey, it's late in the puppet bunker. Let's just go ahead. This one's over." They waved the shot off. For some reason, and then Santa Clara chipped away at it. Actually had a chance, as you said, to get the lead with less than 10 seconds to go and win the game. Hell of a comeback. Really good year for Santa Clara. I probably not quite enough, almost certainly not quite enough to get to the NCAA tournament.
No,
But this
they're out.
program, I think, is arriving.
Uh, and how about this tomorrow? We get round 3 of the Zags and the Gales. We know what just happened. Uh, Griggs, let me start with you. Do the Zags thump the Gales and get the revenge, or do the Gales do it again?
I'm going to say that the Zags thump them, but it wouldn't entirely shock me if St. Mary's beat them. They've surprised us before. I know St. Mary's kind of won handily the last time they met, but that was in St. Mary's. This is in Vegas. I think Gonzaga gets it.
I'm with you, Salika.
I'm sticking with my original pick right here. Gonzaga does not have the aura of invincibility that they had a year ago at this time.
So you're going with the Gales?
I am.
All right. We are back in. That was all the action for today, but we are back in action in a couple of conferences tomorrow. 5 p.m. Eastern, an early start time for the ASUN title game. Jacksonville in Louisville to take on Bellarmine. Jacksonville wins, they win the ASUN, and they go to the NCAA tournament. Bellarmine wins, Jacksonville State gets the NCAA tournament bid as the regular season champion. So Bellarmine playing for themselves and Jack State in a fascinating game tomorrow. Griggs, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, my first thought, and it's pointless to point this out, but I'll do it anyway. I really hate the 4-year transition. I think it should be 2, and that Bellarmine should be eligible, but it isn't, and they're not. This would still be a big win for Bellarmine's program, I think, at least something for them to feel good about and hang a banner. So just because there's no NCAA or NIT for them, this is still a really big deal for them. They are not just going to lay
a
down.
tournament like the new basketball classic might come calling for them if they win this game. So
And they should.
Yeah.
And I hope they get a home game, and I hope the crowd rams the place because they have done spectacularly well this year. And I think they win tomorrow, and Jacksonville State storms the court.
I guess like that's the question. Will Jacksonville State be there to storm the court?
Yeah.
Probably not. But Slika, you going to take the Dolphins or are you going to take the Knights?
I'm going to take the Bellarmine Knights and hope like hell they have a split screen showing between the Bellarmine crowd as well as the Jacksonville State crowd back at their home campus.
Yep. Northeast Conference, we also have the championship tomorrow. In Rhode Island, we have Wagner at Bryant. Bryant looking for their first ever NCAA tournament bid. This one, Slika, should be a heck of a game as well. Some great players here with Peter Kiss for Bryant, Alex Morales for Wagner. Should be a fun one.
This will be a fun one, and hopefully for Bryant, they won't have to sweat out the final 4 minutes like they did against Mount St. Mary's, where they were down 7 and had to found a comeback. Hopefully there'll be enough gas, I guess, refilled after what happened on Saturday in their tanks.
Yeah, what do you think, Griggs?
I think the atmosphere is going to be crazy. I just think this is going to be an incredible basketball game. It could go either way. We just saw Bryant beat them a few weeks ago. Wagner is still dealing with not being at full strength, but based on what they did to Long Island, even though they're on the road, I think Wagner wins it.
I'm going Bryant. I think we're going to see the court storm. I think we're going to see the fun.
Yeah.
I think that home crowd there is going to push this team over the edge. We've got some.
Keep in mind, we've also had crowds at St. Francis, Brooklyn, that should have pushed them over the edge. Alas, that did not happen. So I'm going to go the other way and say Wagner actually wins it.
Yeah, this would be Bryant's biggest win probably since transitioning up to D1, other than Chad the year they won the Ocean State tournament.
The Oceans, except that was Brown that won it.
Except that was Brown. Never mind.
Yes, they did not win the Ocean State tournament, so this would be their biggest win.
Biggest win ever. Yeah,
a biggest win ever. Okay, we have several conferences starting things off tomorrow. The most notable one is first round day in the ACC, beginning at 2 Eastern. We've got Pitt, Boston College, Clemson, NC State, Louisville, Georgia Tech. Very quickly, in 3 seconds or less, Stalika, anything you're looking forward to in these 3 games?
I'm looking to see if
the answer
Pitt
was
has
no.
the right to put Wake out of their misery.
The answer was okay.
No.
But let's ask the bigger question here. Looking forward throughout this event, what do you see? Who do you see winning it? Griggs, let me start with you.
Me or Stalika?
You're Griggs, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the Griggs part. I don't think anybody that plays tomorrow gets to the quarterfinals. So there's that. As far as once we get past that, I kind of think that just because the universe has a way of being cruel to all of us, that North Carolina and Duke play in the championship and Krzyzewski gets his revenge, and then we don't get to enjoy the moment for in perpetuity that we had when North Carolina spoiled it.
That could very well happen. I was actually going to pick North Carolina to win this event, but I'm kind of liking what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Salika, what do you think?
I think Miami and Wake Forest is going to be a potential elimination game come Thursday. But as far as who's winning it, I think it's ultimately going to be Duke over Carolina here.
Okay.
Of course it is.
Again, I don't think there's anything to really note about tomorrow's games other than it gives an opponent, at least for Wake Forest, for an absolute must-win game on Wednesday.
Yeah.
First round day in one of our favorite events, Conference USA with the curtain simultaneously at both 7:30 and 8 on both sides of the curtain. We have the Florida International Marshall game and the UTSA Southern Miss game. And even though this is as far away from the championship game as those games in the ACC, Griggs, I want to see these games. I'm excited because it's the curtain.
The ACC doesn't have a curtain. CUSA does, so that makes these games better automatically. The runners in Southern Miss, I don't know. It's hard to really talk up any of these. I don't. Do either one of them have a chance against FAU? Maybe.
No.
I'll go with the run.
Yeah, I don't think either of these two winners tomorrow have any chance of their next game at all.
I don't either. I don't like the ACC. I don't think any of these teams make the quarters.
I don't know why we have West 6 and West 7 paired up with each other as well as East 6 and East 7 when you've got alternating divisions elsewhere.
Yeah, this is what they decided to do. They decided to let the last two teams in each. It said they didn't cross seed divisions for this round for some reason.
They're essentially playing game.
Yeah, but it's a playing game. It's not real. I guess not part of the real bracket.
I think we should have just lopped off one team, taken 13 teams, and had a quintuple header.
Okay. Stalika, who do you like to win this whole event?
I think it's going to be coming down to UAB versus North Texas right here. I'll take the Mean Green, though, because now they've gotten their bad game out of the system.
I'll tell you what, I don't trust UAB to win 3 games in a row. I don't even think I trust them to win 2 games in a row. I'm taking Middle Tennessee to be in the championship game where they're going to lose to Western Kentucky after they upset North Texas, Griggs.
I was going to pick Western Kentucky. Why did you do that?
Well, you can pick them also. You can tell me I'm right.
Okay, yeah. No, I think it's going to be Western. A bit of a dark horse here because I think North Texas is the best team. But for some reason, I just think Western Kentucky's taking down the curtain.
They're going to take the curtain with them. Okay.
Yeah.
Big West Conference. It is first round day. We've got the play-in games here. The 8-9 game between Cal State Northridge and Cal State Bakersfield, and the 7-10 game between UC Davis and Cal Poly to advance to Thursday's quarterfinals. So, Griggs, first of all, anything you're looking forward to in these 2 games?
I mean, I think they'll be competitive. I'd like to see Cal Poly get all the way to the quarterfinals and just have that memorable quarterfinal run that they've been dreaming of.
Okay. Stalika, who do you think is going to win this event?
I think Riverside's going to get a couple wins at the bottom half of the bracket. I do think Irvine is actually going to knock off Long Beach State and actually end up winning the whole thing.
That's a good pick with Irvine, but they've got a tough road to get there. First UC Santa Barbara, who underperformed, then probably the black and blue rivalry against Long Beach, and then a championship game. That's the only reason why I'm tempted not to go with Irvine, Griggs. I'm going to go with Cal State Fullerton.
You know who I'm going to go with, which I shouldn't. It's been the team that's disappointed us all year long, arguably the biggest disappointment of all the under the radar teams, but they seem to have pulled it together finally late. I'm going to pick the Gauchos.
All right.
So it's going to be up to the Gouch Eater Cup to determine this winner here.
Okay, that's it. We got two more conferences, guys. Come on. The Gouch. Metro Atlantic, it is first round day. We've got the 8-9 game between Manhattan and Ryder, the 7-10 between Fairfield and Canisius, Marist and Quinnipiac in the 6-11 game. Salika, what do you think of these three games tomorrow?
I have nothing on the first three games right here. I'm just looking purely at Ione.
Okay. We need Manhattan to win, so we get another edition of Manhattan, Iona.
Actually, that is very big. That's the one thing I'd be circling for tomorrow. Absolutely want to see that. Is there any doubt that Iona wins this event, Griggs?
I mean, they've sputtered down the stretch. Other people have gotten them, but on a neutral court with everything at stake, not a whole lot of doubt.
Right. And Sleeky there too.
Yeah.
I think Iona wins. Niagara could be a bit of a noisemaker, potentially getting one win and maybe making Iona sweat a little bit. I still think it's the Gales dance here.
Yeah, I agree too. I think they play St. I think form's going to kind of hold. It's going to be Iona St. Peter's in the championship game. Iona wins it. Tomorrow night, we mentioned earlier, is the West Coast Conference Championship game. And Grace, thankfully, will be done with this huge, ridiculous ladder that was in the West Coast. Except tomorrow is also the start of the WAC tournament. And here comes the giant ladder again.
Oh, God.
Okay, we've got California Baptist, and UTRGV in the 8-9 game. Utah Valley, who fell all the way down to the 7th seed, playing Chicago State, who actually found a way to qualify for the WAC tournament in the 7-10 game.
Their final WAC tournament, perhaps their final WAC tournament game. And of course, it's going to once again keep us up till an ungodly hour because it's an 11:30 tip if it starts on time.
Well, the Big West will be running at the same time, so we'll have two games to watch at least. But it's I don't even know what to say about these two games. I don't really know what to say about Wednesday's games. Maybe things get interesting Thursday when you bring Grand Canyon and SFA in. But Stalika, is this New Mexico State going to win this thing, or are you going to pick an upset?
When you have a golden opportunity to win the old Okura bucket like Utah Valley, this is your punishment right here, having to fall to the bottom rung of a 5-rung ladder right here.
You're right. It was that Dixie State loss that cost them the old Okura bucket and dropped them to the 7-10 game. Go ahead.
WAC has never had this format before.
I think New Mexico State's probably going to win this, but Grand Canyon certainly would love to play the role of a spoiler here come Friday.
Yeah, and hopefully we get that semifinal. Griggs, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm really hoping we do. God, that one's fun, and it might be the last one we see for a long time.
Right. Who are you picking to win this thing?
New Mexico State.
New Mexico State. Okay. I am as well. Seattle, another team to keep an eye on down there, but I don't even know if Seattle's going to get back by SFA. I think SFA may be playing New Mexico State in the finals.
Yeah. Great year for Seattle, though. Yes. Good story.
Let's go over to our survival board. This is our NCAA. Oops, I ruined it there. Sorry, guys. NCAA tournament survival board as it was heading into the day with 236 teams remaining. And this is a service we do for the committee. We have teams categorized different ways here. For example, teams could be in blue. They're a lock. That means if the committee comes to this page and says, should we take Kansas? They see them in blue. And what does that mean, Griggs?
It means they have to take them. Yeah. It means you see, all the work is done for them right here.
Right. So if they come to the board and they're wondering, well, maybe we should take UMass for an at-large team. They'll see them in regular type, which means
and then they'll be like, oh no, we can't do that. They're not eligible for us to consider because we have declared them not to be.
Right. They can only get in for an auto bid. If they came looking at Central Arkansas, they'd see them crossed off. They shouldn't even be thinking about them.
Right. Like there's no auto bid at all.
Right. Or if they see a team in bold and all caps, that team's actually clinched the automatic bid. So that's really lets them know.
We seem to have a new conference this year. I thought there were only 32.
There are only Oh, that's the Carver Bible Conference.
Yeah, the Carver Bible College Conference.
Okay.
Interesting that we have 5 teams in a 4-team conference right here.
No, there are only 4 left eligible. You see, one of them's been eliminated.
Oh yeah, one of
That's the count of teams that can still make it a bid. So one of those Carver Bibles was eliminated. There's something wrong
well,
here.
congratulations to them, I guess, for I'm sorry. I thought they had been locked in. I see now they've been eliminated.
But they also were locked in and won an
Yeah.
yeah. We got major problems going on this
Yeah.
place. Heading into the day, there were 236 teams left with a chance to make and win the NCAA tournament as a result of today's action. 227 left.
Yeah, not that busy of a day, but lots of excitement anyway.
Getting very, very close to that 200 mark. We might even go under that tomorrow. We'll see how many games get played.
Well, I don't think. Do we tomorrow? It's definitely on Wednesday.
It'll be close.
Yeah.
Our Rivalry Creator. This is a tool that we've developed to help people create rivalries. For example, we have ones that exist already. Sleeka, this is one of your favorites up here, right? Kent State and Akron?
This would be in the northeast corner of the state right here. We also have the Battle of the Bricks between Mother Miami and Ohio U.
But the Wagon Wheel, not very, very little known fact about them. 8 miles apart, they've never been in the NCAA tournament.
Wow, that is interesting. I did not realize that.
Yeah. Let's go ahead, though, and we've got a couple of requests here for, let's see. Let's see. Gonzaga played tonight, and they're going to be playing in the championship game. So, the question we had is what happened if Gonzaga wanted to play a team like, say, Nebraska? Tim Miles' old school. Would that be a rivalry, Griggs?
It's old school. So, and this is when you look at this is just a rivalry all the way around. The similarities between the programs and the institutions and the proximity of where they are, it's just a rivalry all day long.
It's the Corn Dog Cup. Let's check a little more details on this one too. Let's see.
This feels like something that should be taking place at the state fair.
Look at that, 8 miles apart. They've never been in the NCAA tournament. Did you know that?
I knew half of those things. Wow.
But you know what? Speaking of Nebraska, we actually had a request to find out about another one of their potential rivals. The question was what happened if Nebraska played a team out of Conference USA? What if they played Rice?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's a rivalry that nobody people know about. It could be.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, they were.
Computer, what do we think?
Yeah.
The Corn versus Rice side dish cook-off. Okay, that's enough.
Quite a trophy.
I thought you were potentially going to go with Nebraska and San Jose State.
Oh, jeez. No. I don't know what that would be. They don't have anything similar to each other, do they? Let's go to any other final thoughts. Sleeka?
I think we need to get a patch for this Carver Bible bug that's been on the survival board. I'm afraid either Toccoa Falls or Crowley's Ridge College is going to start showing up here pretty soon.
Jeez, I hope not. Greg, any other final thoughts for you for the night?
Yeah, this is always sort of, at least for me, and I think maybe some other fans as well, is exciting as it is, and as much as we love March, you can sort of feel the season melting away. Like it's this giant glacier that slowly melts away piece by piece. You see Brian in his jerseys and you see the number dwindling down. And like we've gone from 358 down to, was it 226? And it's just kind of crazy, the suddenness of it, of how it ends. Like when you're in a conference tournament, especially if you're into a championship game or you're in an NCAA tournament, the energy is as high as it's ever been during this, as it's ever been at any point in the season. The fan enthusiasm, the interest, the, how focused and how together the players are. And then for it to suddenly end, it's like a balloon popping. And you do kind of feel for Furman and Morehead State to a degree, and all of these programs that had good runs, but then all of a sudden it's like, it's not that you lost the game, it's that you lost and now the ride is over. So I don't know. I still like November because you have as many games as there are in March, more actually, but you also have the season ahead. But I still love March.
I don't know. This is my favorite 2-week week of the entire year. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
love championship week.
I promise if I ever, I don't know, bump into Joe Lenardi, I'm going to ask him why he doesn't give more updates around Thanksgiving week or
I
feast
would
week.
love that. Can
Uh,
I defend Joe Lenardi real quick? Everybody loves the dog Joe Lenardi. I love what he does. I think he makes the game excitable and very easy to understand for a lot of casual fans. You can just look at his bracket, get a basic idea of how good teams are. I actually think he makes people enjoy the sport more. I never understood why people had an issue with him. I
I,
wish he would do it
I,
over Thanksgiving.
I'm with you. I do enjoy it as well. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what he does, and he never says that this is the way the committee is going to do it. He says this is what I'm predicting. There's other
Yeah.
people out there on TV that say that kind of take what he says and make it into, like, written in stone. But that kind of annoys me a little bit. But no, I agree with you, Griggs.
But to
But
be fair, we say
Yeah.
the same thing about Jerry Palm and Mike DeCourcy nowadays.
Yeah.
does anyone even pay
But still,
attention to Mike
like,
DeCourcy? But no, on that note, let's finish this
yeah,
up and let's.
if you're freaks like us, you don't need those. But if you're a normal person who just likes to watch one or two teams and then get a basic idea of how good everyone else is, those brackets are perfect.
Then we should really do those. Just come to Hoops HD. But
Yeah,
on that note,
or you can just go to Hoops HD.
on behalf of John Sleeka, David Griggs, I'm Chad Sherwood. It's been way too long of a night, so we'll talk to you again tomorrow night, everybody. Have a great evening.